Hello, this is PK, and I'm Al Cooper K9, and we're just going to go over just starting the dog. The next phase from being in the kitchen with the dog or in the house and just having the dog attached to you to follow you around and keeping the treats handy. Now right now she's got the leash tight because there's interesting things to smell out here. So, PK. Good girl. What I want is to teach the dog to walk on a nice loose leash, and a lot of times this is simple when a dog is loves treats and responds well to treats. She knows the word treat. Good girl, PK, good girl. So she's just going to easily walk right along and keep her attention focused on my hand that has the treats, and I've got a pocket full of them. And so we start off inside, somewhere familiar, somewhere quiet, maybe in the yard, and then we can go out to the street. And here I happen to live on a very quiet, dead-end street. A few distractions, and you'll see, yeah, sure, she's focused on the treat, but she's walking nice on a loose leash. If it gets a little tight, she automatically stops. She's not pulling. She comes back to me. Good girl. She comes back to me for direction. Hey, Dad. Well, why'd you stop? What's going on? I'm going to reward her for that. Good girl. Yes, good girl. Once she's doing this, then we can start teaching her the English language. Good heel. Good heel. You can put in a word with the action, but first we want to teach the action. Leash gets a little tight, automatically. Good girl. She comes back. Now granted, we've done this a few times, so she knows by now that when the leash gets tight, she needs to look for me directions. When you first start out with your pup, they're going to be tugging and wondering why you're not coming along with them. So just give them, just stop whenever that happens, and watch them when they give you a look, you know, call them to you, good girl, good boy. Give them a treat. We want that leash to be nice and loose all the time. So we'll change directions, and when we do, we're going to give her, you know, a notice. We're going to say, my word is, let's go. Or you can say here, whatever your word's going to be, to let the dog know that when Dad says that word, that means it's time to move or change directions. Let's go. So she automatically comes around. She's on my right-hand side here. I'll just pull her around to my left. No big deal, it's whatever you prefer, but I like to start a dog off on the left-hand side. Later on we could teach the dog to switch sides. Good girl. As you can see, she's doing awesome right now because she's walking right beside me. Nice loose leash. Good girl, PK. Good heel. Good heel. You're a good girl. This just makes it easy in the long run. If you don't have a dog that responds to treats and they could care less, they just want to drag you down the street, you're going to have to do basically the same thing. Whenever that leash is tight, you stop. So they associate a tight leash with not going anywhere. Pretty soon, it might take a minute, but they're going to look back to you like, hey, what's going on? And when they do, you call them to you, give them a pat on the head, and you say, let's go again. You may not get a step or two before the leash gets tight. You may have to repeat it, and it's very frustrating, and it takes a lot of time, but it'll be worth it in the long run having a dog that does not try to drag you down the street. I use a, let's go, a prong collar. This one is a plastic one, or you can get them at the hardware store or the pet shop. The metal prong collar, and use them correctly. You're not trying to hurt the dog with it. It just gives them a little pinch whenever they do pull, and that'll help you out. But a lot of people don't like them because they look kind of medieval and cruel, but they're much less cruel than using a flat collar and jerking on the dog's neck, which can cause some severe damage. So get a prong collar, start off in the house. Hopefully your dog responds to treats. That'll just make life easy for you. Good girl. PK. so great. And just do this for a couple minutes a day. We just walked down to the end of the street and back. This whole thing just took a few minutes. We're just going to do that once or twice a day, and in a matter of days you'll have a dog that is a pleasure to walk on the leash and won't drag you across town. Good girl, Pecan. Good